Hey everybody, welcome back. We're in the shop again and we're working on this CJ3B welder Jeep for a little bit. I've got all that CJ3A axles and transmission transfer case cleaned up, sandblasted and cleaned out, but I'm waiting on some parts. We're trying to build that whole entire vehicle out of new old stock parts, so my customer Vinny has rounded up a bunch of stuff, and as soon as he gets here this week we'll start putting that transmission transfer case together in the front and rear end. But for now we are back on the welder Jeep while we got a free minute, and I have the side panel here. This is where we left off last time, on the left side. This is the right side, and I got the spot welder set up, and we are just attaching the tail light panel to the side panel, and I'll try and set up and give you a shot of that, and we're going to make some progress on this vehicle while we have a couple free minutes. So let me get set up for that and see if I can't get you a shot of that. Okay, that smoking that you see between the panels is the weldable primer. It doesn't harm it, but it does smoke a little bit. So now we got the tail light attached to the side panel, and we're going to put the wheelhouses to the side panel next. So the next thing I'm going to do is get some of that weldable primer all down the panel here, where it's gonna touch, and I'll get the wheelhouses in the weldable primer, and we'll get those fit up, and we'll get the wheelhouses attached here, and then we'll bring everything over and attach it to the rear floor you have sitting right here. Okay, I'll be right back with you. Okay, here's our panel with the weldable primer. Actually, it's the cold galvanized. If you missed that, you can go back to one of the videos or explain it. But I use a high temperature cold galvanized because it doesn't go bad like the weldable primer. So I'm gonna let that dry for about an hour, and I've got it on that side panel, and I've got it all along where the wheelhouse is going to hit, and we'll get those, once this dries, we'll get those jigged up in there, maybe put a couple clecos in there to hold them. We're looking for, from our top edge to the top of the wheelhouse, it's going to be 3 inches, so we'll get that laid in there real nice, get the spot welder out and get those put in, and I'll show you that next. As soon as that primer dries, we'll get everything jigged up and start spot welding it together. Okay, here's a shot of the side panel with the wheelhouse attached to it with some clamps, and we got it in there nice and straight. We got our dimension from here to here, straight the whole way down. And if you remember from an earlier video, I know we haven't been on this project in a while, but if you remember from an earlier video, we're keeping the taillight panel on the inside of the wheelhouse panel. And that's so we get a nice smooth joint there without a lap. We're not going to have a lap in the wheel well where the tire is going to be throwing all junk at it. And like I said, I found this on one of those hand-built Agri-Jeep bodies. The first one that I did, when I took it apart, the guy who was building that one put that on the inside, and I've been building my bodies like that ever since, because it really keeps that area rust free. You're not going to have that joint exploding on the inside where it's taking all that the road grime and the water and the dirt and stuff getting in there. So when we put the tailgate surround on that, we'll come just over that. We'll get this hammered down and stuff and fitting right, but that'll come over that, and when we stitch weld that up here, you'll never know what's under there. And it does make quite a difference if you're going to have your Jeep out there, and even when you're washing it and stuff. You get water in there and it just starts the rusting process. So that's the way I like to build my bodies. When I'm doing original restoration, obviously I won't do it that way because it looks wrong, but when I'm building one for myself or for a customer who really wants a long-lasting body, I always put them on the inside of the wheel well. Outside, inside, whatever way you say. I put them on the in the little bed area. So that's how I do it, and we're gonna get this spot welded together. I'll get the spot welder going again. Just turn the air on for the clamps, and off we go. We'll get this one spot welded. Okay, I got some tacks on here, some spot welds, enough where we can remove the clamps. And, we'll just start pulling these off. And one area I want to show you, if you decide you're going to start making some side panels yourself or do some work like that, this area in here where it curves around, that has to be absolutely perfect on a radius. They have to match perfect, because when those clamps of the spot welder comes, it'll either distort your panel real bad or you won't get a good spot weld. So you got to take your time when you're bringing your side panel around, or when you're making your wheelhouse, running that flange around there. That has to be absolutely perfect without even a playing card space in there. That's a tricky area, but it has to be right on the money. And you can see the rest of it is just perfectly tight against the side panel. I don't want to have any trouble with water or any junk getting in there, so that's got to be absolutely flawless there. So, going to pull the clamps and we'll get some more spot welds in there. Okay, I tried to get some shots of the actual spot welding, but I kept being in the way of the camera. But this is what it looks like all finished. Very nice looking spot welds all the way down, just like the factory would have done. And again, there's that area you gotta be careful of. Match up those radiuses real good. And here is the taillight panel on what most people would say would be the wrong side of the wheelhouse. Again, it should be underneath, but this is a much better way to do it. And we'll try and hang this on the floor next and see how it fits. Okay, that's what the spot welds look like from the outside. Again, just like the factory would have done it. And there's no bumps or anything there. Just when we go over this whole thing with the 80 grit with the DA sander, it'll just take a little bit of that heat affected zone out of there and make everything perfectly flat and look correct. So There is the wheelhouse attached now with just a couple clamps underneath to the rear floor. And another place I've seen some people get in trouble here is on this floor riser. Now here's the floor riser into the floor, and you still got to adjust this, you know, got to get this bend right, but this floor riser needs to be the exact right length from your wheelhouse here and here, so that you hit here and you don't have a bump or a big cave in over in the corner there. So that all needs to be correct, and but you can see it's coming in pretty nice. Everything is fitting real nice, and we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side and get the other side hung and see roughly where we're at. So I'm going to see if the primer is dry on the other one, and we'll get spot welding that one, and I think we'll have enough time to come back and hang it on the floor also. So see you in a bit. Okay guys, here's a shot of the side panels, wheelhouse panels, everything clamped to the rear floor. I don't have it welded to the rear floor yet. I still got to put some primer on there on the wheelhouses. And there's the rear, the cross sill, and I've got a little trimming to do on the floor. You see, I got to cut some away there to get that to sit right, but that goes in there. And then we'll get working on our tailgate surround, which goes all the way around. That's what we'll put on next after we weld these to the rear floor. And there's a tailgate surround. It goes around. So that's what we'll be putting on there next. That's on that snowblower Jeep I'm building. But that's what it looks like with that rear cross sill. We'll have just about the whole rear half of it done. We still got little things to do, like double up put a piece of double channel underneath there so it's double thick all around. The whole side panel comes down, connects the front panel and the rear panel, that little U-shaped channel in there. So we've got to make all that, and we've got some bunch of welding to do, and that's coming along nicely. We've got to put in some stiffeners here, one for the spare tire, and then we've got some inner braces, some inner hat channel that goes right in this inside here, right around there. We'll salvage what we can from the body and make what we can't salvage, and it's coming along. Spot welds are coming out nicely, and it's looking like a factory setup. So that's where we're headed next. Again, that's our 14 gauge floor, if you remember, because this is getting that real heavy welder in the back. So we might MIG weld the side panels in. I don't know. We can spot weld 18 to 14 without a problem, but I might give you guys a few different options. I know a lot of guys don't have spot welders as heavy as this one, so I'll give you a couple options. So maybe we'll do one side MIG and one side with the spot welder. But that's where we are today, and we'll keep fooling around with this one as long as we get some free time. Like I say, we should have some parts for that CJ3A this week, so we'll get working on that. As soon as the parts get here, we'll put that transmission transfer case together. So that's where we're at today. Okay, hope you're enjoying the couple different projects I got, and feel free to comment. If there's anything special you want to see, let me know, and hit the like button or the subscribe button. And like I say, we're trying to make the channel better all the time, so if there's anything at all you'd like to see, let me know and I'll get it out there for you. Otherwise, we're going to continue on the 3A and the CJ3B welder Jeep. Okay, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.